Today is a new day, and if a new day consists of me not hitting negative 3 times in a row, I'll be a happy chappy. We are currently at a profit of a measly £607.18. Welcome your faces back to episode number 99 of this series, Profit or Loss. I say this every single episode, but I feel like today is going to be the day. Let's see what we've got. I paid a grand total of £40 for this Nintendo Switch Lite. The actual condition of this one is relatively good. It's a nice grey. Ignore the blue Joy-Con that we have here. There's a white one underneath it, but I think it's really groggy. That it is. Lord above. As for the rest of the console, I don't see any scratches to the case really, no cracks, nothing like that. More so just a bit of grime and dirt. The condition of the screen is relatively good as well. Do we have a game in the console? No. SD card? No. The listing on eBay pretty much states in good condition but does not power on. The cover's also missing on the left Joy-Con. Let's take a quick look under the scope and see what condition the port is in. Lord knows I need an easy fix. Here we go. Okay. All right. Well, the good news is that I think we know what the issue is, which is that the port has spontaneously combusted to the point where, I don't know, maybe somebody's put an incorrect cable in there and it's pushed back all of the pins, which is nice. And Joey, what do you mean that's nice? Well, I said this last time and it shot me in the foot, but the fault presents itself. I know what's wrong with this device. It has a bad USB-C charging port. Could that mean that there's a plethora of things wrong with it? Absolutely. But today, I'm talking in words of profit and faith. Let's get inside this console and see if that is our only issue. Oh, okay. So this screw, for whatever reason, is threaded. I would go ahead and talk about how I don't think someone's been in this console, but every time I do that, somebody's been inside the console. Check these two up here. That feels good. It could have just like maybe been dropped, and potentially that bit of plastic has broken inside, which is therefore why it's stripped. Be nice and gentle here. Please, no liquid damage. I'm praying. What's this? What on earth is this on the side? Please, not today. What's this down the bottom? No! I refuse to believe. One more screw. No polka dot sticker. No polka dot sticker. Come on. No polka dot sticker. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. It doesn't look like the signs of small liquid damage that we have here and down the bottom has gone any further inside the console. Lovely jubbly. Which means I can go ahead and actually get the chassis out the board. I like to actually give this a little 200 degrees Celsius just up here to get it off in one swoop. There we go. Actually left some bits behind. Okay, motherboard's been removed. One thing we know for sure is that the charging port needs to be changed. So I think first things first, let's get the charging port off. Then we can test around M92 and BQ just to make sure that we don't have any shorts. Hopefully the APU's okay. Let's get this charging port off the board then. So we're going with a temperature of 450 degrees Celsius with an airflow speed of 50%. There it is. What we're going to do now is add some dewy flux to the switch and just add some leaded solder. Adding the leaded to the unleaded actually lowers the melting temperature in general, which means that when we go to put a port back on this, if we manage to fix it, it'll make the job a lot easier. I'm going to go ahead now and put the multimeter into continuity mode to see if we can locate a short, if there is one. Hopefully there's not, and I can just put a port on and call this a profit. That would be absolutely awesome. But I just know it's not that easy. So everything in and around the vicinity looks okay. Let's check M92 T36. Our main suspect here is this cap, which looks good. Our CPU is not dead. We like that a lot. Let's check around M92 now. I thought that was a short, but it's not. These caps are the ones that usually get shorted, but they're not shorted. That's amazing. We don't have any shorts around M92 T36. Let's check around our good old friend BQ, see if we got any shorts around here that will affect the charging aspect. Looks good, okay. All I should have to do now is check the fuse to make sure that we're all good there. Do we get a beep? We do. Our fuse is good as well. Let's put a new port on and see if we can get this working. First of all, let's give our port a nice tin. And we do that by simply just applying a tiny bit of flux there and just using our soldering iron to spread some leaded. There we go. And we'll just give that a quick clean as well. Make sure we don't have any leftover flux in there that is not needed. And here we have it. It's port time. I've not done one of these in a while, so please don't judge me. We're going 450 degrees Celsius, airflow speed, a nice cushy 50%. I am just going to add some flux here. And a little bit here, a little bit here. Not too much though. Here we go. There's quite a lot. Let's dab it away. Can just about see that solder starting to wet now. So I'm going to come in with the port and just place it there. And rotate that heat still until the port sits in place, which it will do any second. Give it a little nudge. help it out. There it goes. And I'm going to come off the heat in about 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Now, I think the pins are touching the pads, but I'm not entirely sure. So I'll have a more in-depth look in a second. I'm just waiting for that solder to solidify. There we go. And now we can check. They've not turned silver, so I don't know if that is sat properly or not. It definitely looks it. Okay, whilst I am here again, and it's hot, we're just going to give everything a quick clean before it cools down, because as soon as that flux cools down, it's going to be a lot harder. Probably left this a little bit too long, as you can see. So that flux is starting to stick. So at that point, I'll just come in with a little bit of IPA, give it a once over. There we go. I've done it again. I don't believe it. I've put the wrong port back on. I don't believe it. I've done that before. I've done it before, and I've done it within quick succession this time, actually. Absolutely horrendous. Right, take it off, Joey. Can't believe it. Heat it up again. Here we go. Come off the heat. That fits so much better. Funny that. Clean. Those pins look a lot better now. I was contemplating everything. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but putting the old port back on is just... There's no excuse, is there? I'm going to put a little bit of solder on this back one just here whilst the board is still hot. So I don't think that one flowed all the way through. So a bit of flux. Just try and flow that a little bit better. Hopefully that's done the job. Okay, there we go. That looks a lot better than what it did, that's for sure. Luckily, it doesn't take me too long nowadays to do the actual port swap. Let's just finalise and make sure that these pins are all intact. All nice and soldered to the board. Lovely. Jubbly. Right, after that embarrassing event, let's see if the actual chassis and the screen work for this console. Semi back together, not fully back together. Let's give it a test. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. I'm going to use my ammeter and see what kind of current we pull. That's really, really good. 0.07. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. We got the battery symbol as well. 0.10 amps. It's just super low battery right now. And just for the sake of it as well, let's test the other way. Just make sure we're okay. Lights up. 0.07. 0.09. Perfect. We've got the backlight as well that's come on just down here. I don't know if you can see. Yeah. Wicked. Now, all I need to do is let it charge. I'm also just looking at this, and I think that it just needs to clean, like to get all of the grub off. I don't think necessarily it needs replacing as such, as long as it doesn't have drift. If it has drift, it's a different story. I've just simply given that a clean with some isopropyl alcohol and a cotton swab, and arguably it looks so much better than this one now. This one looks really yellowed. This one looks pretty much brand new. In order to be fair, I am just going to give this a quick clean to see if I can get it as immaculate as the other one, but I don't think I'm going to be able to, because this one had the cover on. No, I mean, that doesn't look too different, does it? Perfect. That's been put back together now. I've got that analog stick dirty again somehow. I've tested everything with it. The Wi-Fi, game card reader as well works absolutely fine. It did have parental controls, but I have obviously sorted that now. And again, I've just given it a little wipe down. The condition of this is fantastic. So I should be looking to get a nice little wedge for this on eBay. We're starting strong. That's what we love to see. Let's head on over to item number 2. I don't know why I said head on over, as if I'm going over to because the item's coming to me. It doesn't matter. I paid a total of £45 for this Nintendo Switch Lite. So can we potentially go 2 for 2? That would be awesome and really help with the profits. This stick looks like it's seen better days, and it looks a little bit off-centered. But again, until I can actually get this working, I can't test that out. All the buttons feel okay. I also don't see any massive cracks on the screen or anything like that. It's actually in relatively good condition, I would say. No SD card down there. And also, no game. Let's check the listing. eBay states that none of them react to USB. Fun fact, I bought 2 for £90, hence why this one is $45. Not tested further, history unknown. So basically, we could have anything on our hands here. Let's check the charging port. The charging port on this looks okay. I can't tell if that's liquid damage down the back there. I'm praying that it's not. And we've got this screw here, which looks good, and this screw as well. So I doubt this has actually been opened before, which also puts me in really good hopes for the other one that I have, potentially if we fix that in this episode or the next one. I'm not too sure. Simply put, let's go ahead and take this apart. Actually, before I take it apart, I should probably test it, hey? If the charging port looks okay, what's going to be the harm? Start with the basics, Joey. Start with the basics. To use our ammeter here. Here we go. Do we get anything? No, we don't. So we get 0. Nothing happening with this. Dead. Potentially that port not properly soldered to the motherboard in some way then. It does look very loose, look. Let's continue taking it apart. First looks on the actual motherboard is clean. It doesn't look like we have any water damage. The water damage indicator is still a white and pink rather than an entire pink. The entire pink on these means that it gets water damage. So we're looking good. If there is a way, this is simply something like an M92 T36, I'll be eternally grateful, because last episode was an absolute shipwreck. Being so close to that 1000 and then having it kind of just taken away in the manner that it was really sucks. But that is the game. The game is the game. Let's see what's going on with this motherboard. First rule of thumb, clear off the thermal paste. Now, usually when I get absolutely nothing inside the console, in most cases, it can be either the port itself or the fuse on the back of the device near the charging port, just here. So this fuse here might have gone boom, or we could have a shorted component on M92 or BQ or anywhere else on the board for that matter. What I'm doing real quick though is giving this a nice visual inspection, just to make sure that I don't have any signs of corrosion or water damage or anything like that that might be throwing me off. My mate Vince actually had a really cool fix recently on a Nintendo Switch, and it was one of like the traces above the APU that were a little bit corroded, and he spotted it with his keen eye. Me, I would have completely and utterly butterly missed that and ended up blaming the APU. But this looks okay, I think. Yeah, it doesn't look like we've got any issues. So let's check on the fuse itself down here. Meter is in fact in continuity mode. Let's see. Okay, so we get a continuous path through the fuse itself, which is good. It means it's okay. Let's have a look at this port again quickly, because like I said, it felt really wobbly. Is it wobbly? It is a little bit, isn't it? Okay, let's check around M92 T36, see what we got here, see if we got any shorts. And just as an example, this side will be ground. It's meant to beep, okay? The other side is not ground and should not beep, which these caps don't, to be fair. I don't have any beep at all. Let's check the APU cap. That seems to be okay. And up here, that's also okay. So M92 seems to be alright. We'll check around BQ. Again, we're looking for a beep one side, not the other. And all of that seems alright. Just checking on some of these caps down here. Again, all good. So maybe it is the fact that we just have a little bit of a dodgy port, because again, the fuse is fine. I'm a little bit confused, to be honest. I thought something might have been shorted, but... And the port, to me, looks okay visually, you know? Perhaps, maybe, what is that? Is that a little bit of... No, that's just thermal paste there. But yeah, visually, it looks alright. So I'm a little bit confused. A little bit wobbly, nonetheless. But the only thing I'm thinking is that maybe we have some bad traces underneath the port. So I'm going to take the port off and see what the situation is. Same exact procedure here. We're going to go 450 degrees Celsius with an airflow speed of 50%. And hopefully, not rip any pads. That's the goal. Adding a little bit of flux here, and that is solder. You've seen this once already, so I'm probably just going to speed through the process. All of those traces seem to look good, so I don't think we've got an issue with any of those underneath the port. I'm just going to go ahead and put a new port on, I think. Not the old port. Definitely not the old port. Pins all looking really good and strong there. Jubbly. Nice clean port replacement. Are these pins on? All good. And it's definitely not the old port. What happens now then when we go to plug in the ammeter? This will be without a battery. So all I'm looking for here is just it to do something. Which is not. Still. It's still not doing something. We're going to try a different charger. Let's see what happens now. Nothing. Okay, so 2 different chargers as well. And it's not happening. Try the other side just to make sure. Yeah. Either side, and we definitely know one row of those pins is good. I'll be honest, I think it's the first time that I've had this issue, which is, I mean, it's a good issue to have because it's a first on the channel. Definitely an interesting one. Before I do anything else, I'm going to unplug both of my chargers and put them back in just in case, for whatever reason, they went into protection mode. Okay, so let's try the official Nintendo one first. See what happens. Nothing still. There's a bit of glare there, but yeah, nothing. I'll try a different ammeter as well, just to make sure. Yep, nothing. And again, we're going to go for a different charger. Anything? Nothing. Finally, this one. Nothing. And just to confirm, if I take a donor board and plug this in, straight away, look at that. Okay, interesting. Ooh, that's a high draw. So what would stop this having voltage coming through pretty much off the bat? I would say the port. Let me check to see if we have a short on the fuse. Because I didn't actually check that. I measured for a continuous path through it, but I didn't measure for a short. Do we have a short? No. And definitely not this side to confirm. No, no short. But then continuity through? Yes. So theoretically, if I go ahead and plug the charger in, I should get 15 volts on the fuse. Multimeter in DC voltage. ground 1 on here. Do we get 15 volts? We don't. We get nothing. So something is stopping the voltage from coming through the board. And I'm pretty sure the only thing before this is going to be the port. But it doesn't make sense. I'm very confused. And I've got a feeling that something's going to click in a minute and I'm going to go, oh, it's that. But let me check the actual port itself. We get nothing. It's 0. Across the board, we get no voltage at all. Across any of these, 0.4, 0. Okay, so we get like, what, a volt there, pretty much. 0.9, so maybe something is coming through. Okay. 0.5, 0.84. Okay, so we've got a couple of lines. This is one of them. 0.9 volts. And was this the other one? 0.8? Yeah, 0.8. Okay, so something's trickling through. Now, I think I found our issue. So just measuring around the port and stuff. I have a short. Well, I say a short. I mean, it's an 8 ohm short. So it's not a short to ground. This isn't meant to be. This is meant to be ground. But the only one that's meant to be ground is this one here. This one is not meant to be. Now I just need to chase around the board and try and find this 8 ohm short. Through ways and means, I think I found our 8 ohm short, which is actually on this pin here of M92T36. So you can see it's 7 ohms there, which lines up with the short we have here of 7 ohms, which is the same as the one that's on the port as well. So trusty M92T36, maybe it is you. I'm going to take this off and then we're going to measure it and see if that short's gone, because it might not be. My next stop was going to be to replace M92T36, but it was good that we applied some logic to actually get to that point, you know. So we'll just take it off the board and see if that short's there. We'll see if it's gone. But I've never had M92T36 cause the ammeter to not show any data on the screen, ever. I've never had that. Do we still have a short, or is our short gone? Our short is gone. So I think I have reason to believe it was this chip. So let's get a new one on. Nice, clean now. Bit of isopropyl alcohol. And of course, as always, we're going to check our work. Looks good that side. Looks good on these sides. And final side. Looks good. There we go. Our short was on this second pad here. So is it still there or is it gone? It's gone. There we go. That's a lot better. And the only pad that's ground is this one here. Nice. Let's see what happens now when we plug in the ammeter. Something shows up, which is good. 15 volts. There we go. And it drops down to 0 amps. Perfect. Now I can put this back in the chassis and just make sure that it works. Hopefully there's nothing wrong with our screen or any other components. All right, back in the chassis. Let's see what happens then. If we plug this in. Do we get the charging symbol? Yes, we do. Okay, sweet. Probably have a look and see how flat this battery is. I'm going to assume it's pretty flat. Yeah, 0.06, 0.08. Very, very flat. But good signs that the screen is on and working. We love that. I have got the chassis back together and I've cleaned the joysticks, etc. But there's a little yellow tint now on this joystick. And I don't know if I want it there. So I think I'm going to replace this one, to be honest. I've tried cleaning it as best I can. I can't get that yellow tint off. And there we go, the Nintendo Switch is back together. This one looks a lot whiter than what this one does now, but it doesn't matter. Everything seems to be working. I've tested a game, it connects to the internet. We are all good with this console. It does need a full charge and then I can look to sell it. But again, this has turned out rather nice. We have a few minor scratches on the screen, but I'd probably say this is my favorite color of this console. So now we head on over to Sally's spectacular spreadsheet to calculate the profits we've made today. Yes, you heard me correctly. Profits. Now, total cost here was £85, 40 for one and 45 for the other. So it's £85. The cost was 2 charging ports and an analog stick, so we'll say about £3. Now, the fun part. I think I'm going to be able to get £85 each for these consoles, which gives us a sell price of £170, leaving us with a gross profit in today's episode of £66.70. Back in the green, let's go, £66.70, giving us a total profit of the series of £673.88. Still not a massive enough profit to kind of make a dent in where I want to be with the £1,000, but it's definitely now in the right direction. Let me tell you, I don't know how the next episode is going to go because it's a first. on JDT. If you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. I'll leave the first episode in this playlist just up here in the corner of your screen. So if you want to binge it from the start, feel free to do so over there. Have a great rest of your day, week, weekend, whatever it is for you. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.